What's up, YouTube? Zero here, and today I have an amazing Decidueye EX and Lurantis deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket. In this video, I'll go over the deck build that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. I'll talk about each of these cards individually, and then I'll talk about why each of these cards plays really well together, and this makes an absolutely amazing deck. Before I get into it, I do want to say, if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. I do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Without further ado, let's talk about this Decidueye EX and Lurantis deck. Yes, a lot of people, a lot of players have been utilizing a Decidueye EX and Greninja deck. I actually utilize that as well, and I do have a video on that if you want to check out an amazing Decidueye EX and Greninja deck. However, I wanted to do another combination for Decidueye because I love Decidueye and it can work in a lot of different ways. This deck is combining Decidueye and Lurantis, and there are a few reasons why this deck is great, and there are a few reasons why you may want to utilize this deck over the Decidueye EX and Greninja deck, but I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. Let's talk about each of these cards and why they pair very well with each other. First, let's talk about the Decidueye EX line. First, let's start with Decidueye EX, the star of the show. Decidueye EX, Grass-type Pokemon, has two different moves. One, Pierce the Pain. For 2 colorless energy, this attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has damage on it. So this is great for a few reasons. One, it can deal 100 damage to a Pokemon regardless of where that Pokemon is on the board, as long as that Pokemon has damage on it. On top of that, it's colorless energy, which doesn't matter as much in this deck build because we're just going with grass energy, but that's a pretty awesome move. It gets rid of the need for Cyrus. Cyrus is a great card. I utilize it in a lot of my decks, but because Decidueye can pierce the pain and attack any Pokemon that has damage on it, you don't need Cyrus when utilizing Decidueye EX, so that's pretty awesome. You get rid of one of your trainer cards just by using Decidueye, which is awesome. Next, it also has Razor Leaf. For 2 grass energy, you deal 80 damage. This is nice, especially in a grass deck. If no Pokemon on the opposing team have damage on them, you can deal Razor Leaf for 80 damage for 2 grass energy, which isn't too bad for 2 energy dealing 80 damage, but really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get damage on Pokemon on your opponent's team so you can pierce the pain. Decidueye EX is going to be found in the Celestial Guardians Lunala pack, so remember, if you do want Decidueye EX, you're going to have to go with the Lunala packs from Celestial Guardians. Then with Decidueye's line, Dartrix, which is in the Lunala packs as well. For 1 grass energy, Razor Wing is 30 damage. I only have 1 Dartrix because I do have Rare Candy in this deck, and I'll talk about Rare Candy after I talk about Rowlet. Rowlet, I have the Skill Dive Rowlet. There are 2 Rowlets in the game right now. I utilize the Skill Dive one, and there's a reason for it. Skill Dive, this attack does 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, so that's pretty nice. You don't have to attack the Pokemon in the active slot. You can attack any Pokemon on the playing field. Doing this is going to open up, hopefully, an attack from Decidueye EX and Pierce the Pain. So if there's a Pokemon on my opponent's bench that I would rather attack than that Pokemon in the active slot, I can utilize Skill Dive, hopefully setting up a Pierce the Pain a little bit later on. So that's why I like to utilize Skill Dive, so I can deal damage to any Pokemon on that playing field that I want. So that's going to be pretty important. Utilize the Rowlet with Skill Dive so you can set up your Decidueye EX Pierce the Pain. This is also going to be found in those Lunala packs. Now let's talk about the second Pokemon in this deck. It's going to be Lurantis and its pre-evolution Fomantis. So Lurantis obviously requires one evolution. It's a stage 1, but for 1 energy has Petal Blizzard. This attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That's absolutely amazing, especially when paired with Decidueye EX. I already talked about Pierce the Pain. Pierce the Pain is an absolutely phenomenal move when Pokemon have damage on them. Well, what Lurantis is going to do is it's going to set up a Decidueye Pierce the Pain. Lurantis, as long as you evolve Fomantis into Lurantis and you hit for Petal Blizzard, you're going to hit every Pokemon on your opponent's playing field. It doesn't matter where they are, you're going to hit them for 20 damage. So that's great because you're going to set up your Pierce the Pain. You're going to hit every Pokemon on your opponent's field, which is going to allow Decidueye to essentially have its pick of the litter as long as your opponent doesn't heal. So you're going to be able to hit any opponent on your opponent's playing field for a Pierce the Pain 100 damage. That's awesome. Those two paired up with each other. Lurantis to start out, get 20 damage or as much damage as possible. You can keep hitting for 20s as long as Lurantis is in that active slot. And then you can bring in your Decidueye EX and hit any Pokemon that has damage on it. Most likely, the majority of Pokemon on that playing field are going to have some form of damage on it, thanks to your Lurantis, which is why I love this combination. It's only 1 energy and 1 evolution, and Lurantis is going to be hitting every Pokemon for 20 damage, so you're going to set up Pierce the Pain fairly easily. Fomantis, basic Pokemon, Leafage, 1 energy for 20. Now, Fomantis you can find in either your Solgaleo or your Lunala packs. Same thing with Lurantis. You can find those just in any of the Celestial Guardians packs. So if you are looking for either of them, you can open up either Celestial Guardians packs and you have a chance of unlocking either of those Pokemon, Fomantis or Lurantis. Now let's talk about the support cards in this deck. Rare Candy. Rare Candy is absolutely awesome. It's one of the best cards in the game right now and can get you from a basic to a stage 2 really quickly. Rare Candy, for those of you who don't know, choose one of your basic Pokemon in play. If you have a stage 2 card in your hand that evolves from that Pokemon, put that card onto the basic Pokemon to evolve it, skipping the stage 1. You can't use this card during your first turn or on a basic Pokemon that was just put into play this turn. That's absolutely epic, being able to skip a stage 1 Pokemon. You can get to your Decidueye EX insanely quickly, and if you already have Rowlet on the playing field with 1 energy, you evolve with Rare Candy, equip another one, and Decidueye is ready to attack. Rare Candy is absolutely amazing, allowing players to get to their Decidueye EX a lot quicker. This can be found in either of the Celestial Guardians packs, so you can just open up those packs and you can get the Rare Candy. So be on the lookout for that. It is a great card, not just in this deck, but in any decks that you build. Rare Candy is going to be phenomenal to get you from those basics to those stage 2s really quickly. A couple of cards that I have in every deck. Pokeball, put a random basic from your deck into your hand. Of course, this is going to allow you to get to either your Rowlet or Fomantis quicker so you can get them on the playing field. Then Professor's Research, same, you draw 2 cards. By utilizing Professor's Research allows you to get to the cards you need that are buried in the deck quicker. So I love those cards as a part of this deck. Pretty much most decks, I'm running those 2 cards. For more support, I have Erica and Lily. Let's talk about Lily first. Heal 60 damage from one of your stage 2 Pokemon. This is going to be phenomenal to keeping your Decidueye EX alive. Decidueye EX is going to be how you win and lose games. Lurantis is great to set up Decidueye, but it's not going to be often that your Lurantis is going to be able to win you a game. It's going to be on the back of your Decidueye. So Lily healing up your Decidueye for 60 HP is going to be crucial to keeping it alive and keeping your chances of winning even higher. So I love Lily as a part of this deck. It's in the Celestial Guardian Solgaleo pack, so if you do want to unlock Lily, you're going to have to open up those Solgaleo packs. On top of healing from Lily, I also have 2 healing from Erica. Notice I only have 1 Lily in this deck. I do have 2 healings from Erica. Erica can heal 50 damage from one of your grass Pokemon. Now, the reason why I have Erica is because Lurantis is not a stage 2 Pokemon. So if I do want to keep Lurantis alive a little bit longer, Erica is going to be there to help me do that. So you could play around with, if you want 2 Lilies and 1 Erica, that's fine. I prefer 2 Lilies because if I need to utilize Erica on Lurantis, I have it there available, and it's going to be a little bit easier to pull an Erica out when I have 2 of them in the deck. But I like having all 3 here because I can keep my Decidueye EX alive later into the game, and I can also keep my Lurantis alive later in the game with Erica. Now, Erica is going to be found in the Genetic Apex Charizard packs. So if you are looking for Erica, go ahead and go with Genetic Apex Charizard to unlock Erica. Last but not least, I have Rocky Helm. Rocky Helm is going to be great to help dealing extra damage and also making sure that a Pokemon you're facing will have damage on it if you do have your Decidueye EX out there. Now, Rocky Helm, for those of you who don't know, if the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. So if your opponent attacks, they now have 20 damage on it, which is going to open up a possibility for you to pierce the pain with Decidueye EX. So that's going to be pretty important. You can find the Rocky Helms in the Space-Time Smackdown Palkia packs. So that is the deck, and it is really solid. I love utilizing Decidueye and Lurantis in combination with each other. Lurantis can really set up Decidueye in many ways. It deals 20 damage to any Pokemon on the playing field, which allows Decidueye to have its pick of the litter when we're attacking with Pierce the Pain, which is absolutely awesome. These two are a great combination and do have certain benefits over the Greninja Decidueye decks that I mentioned earlier. Greninja Decidueye are a great combination. As I said, I do have a deck coupled around Greninja Decidueye, and I love utilizing it. It is a phenomenal deck. However, there are a lot of choices when you do combine Greninja and Decidueye, and you do have a lot of strategical options that you have to make when you are utilizing that deck. When you're putting the deck together, you have to determine if you want to go with dual energy. Do you want to do grass plus water, or do you want to just go with grass energy? Utilizing Lurantis and Decidueye, you don't have to make that decision. You just go with grass energy. On top of that, you have to determine where that energy is going to go if you do have that dual energy. So do I equip my water energy on my Decidueye, hoping that I can get damage on the opponent's Pokemon, or do I equip it on my Greninja? If I don't have one of those cards ready, which it does take a little bit longer to get those cards ready, remember, both Greninja and Decidueye are Stage 2 Pokemon, meaning you're going to have to get both online as quickly as possible to feel the great effects from both of them. This deck doesn't have that. You can win by just getting Decidueye online. So that's really what you're focused on with this deck. The other deck, you may be able to win by just getting Greninja online. You may be able to win by just getting Decidueye online, but that's going to be dependent on if you have dual energy and how you really want to play that deck. So there is pluses and minuses. This one, you just focus on grass energy. At its best, you can put Lurantis in that starting spot, hit all enemies for 20 damage repeatedly until you're ready for Decidueye to come out, and then Decidueye can come out and just run free on all of your opponents. But Decidueye can be put in that active slot as quickly as possible and still do a lot of damage with its Razor Leaf for 80. So it does have a lot of benefits just running with grass energy and running this deck with Lurantis and Decidueye. I love this deck. I've been running it a lot. I love it just as much as my Greninja Decidueye deck. Both are great decks, but check this one out and let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know what substitutions you'd make. Are there other Pokemon that you would like to see combined with Decidueye? Let me know in the comment section. What other substitutions would you make in this deck? I'd love to know and talk in the comment section. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.